I think enters is a good change, and you'll get used to it eventually, Naldron Rivers said on Twitter a few days ago. This spawned a discussion amongst such posters as Golgari Guy and Pleasant Kenobi, and they lamented and commented on the fact that enters the battlefield Pleasant Kenobi situation, he said it was so negligible he doesn't care, but he also agrees that it's a symptom of increased wordiness in Magic. Golgari Guy says he would like to change other phrases, such as reanimate, or returning a creature from the graveyard to the battlefield, to simply reanimate, which I can actually give an example here. So animate dead. This was the extremely wordy version of animate dead. This is the old/new/updated version. Actually, this is even more wordy than the original version. I made a video a couple of weeks ago about animate dead, the animate dead problem, I called it, and now, here's an even better version of this. Enchant creature card in a graveyard. Reanimate target creature and attach animate dead to it. That is much more elegant than this monstrosity. And so I agree with Golgari Guy on this point. I also like this image here. They say that Tutor could be replaced with Search. I semi-agree with that. Tutor is kind of like Mill in the sense that Mill is not like a commonly used word, but in Magic vernacular, people know what it means. So Tutor, like Demonic Tutor, is one of the most famous cards in Magic. In theory, that could work. That might be getting a little bit too insular, but there's a whole discussion here about enters. People want to know, is it confusing? Is it specific enough? Not, et cetera. And so on this actually spawned from the Bloomburrow spoilers, which I had posted up earlier, that showed the cards just saying enters, and this saves a lot of space, as you could see with the original version of cards such as Myriad Landscape or Solemn Simulacrum. You can see on the card Myriad Landscape, it says enters the battlefield. This is an extra 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It's like 14 characters extra, including spaces, that are just not needed on the card. This takes up an entire extra line of text. You could have had a larger font. It could have made it easier to read. And so I think that enters is a good change. In the words of Robin Hood Men in Tights, a good change, a good change. I got to put the editing in these videos at some point. But yeah, so this is a good change to me. Mark Rosewater on Blogatog, this is a different Blogatog, he says that Bloomburrow is the start of enters the battlefield changing to simply enters. And this will be applied retroactively in Oracle. Entering will be connected specifically with the battlefield, so cards, for example, cannot enter the graveyard. We will occasionally write out enters the battlefield where we think it's necessary to clarify. And leaves the battlefield is not being shortened to leaves, as we have used leave as a means to talk about cards leaving the graveyard, so it created ambiguity we did not want. This itself spawned a thread on Reddit in like February. This was February 26th on Blog Talk. Reddit made some very good points about shuffle your library. Sagas already say, as this saga enters, they're already saving the space. So here we go. Let's just type in type saga. And so as this saga enters, as it enters, as it enters. This is much better wording. The sagas really needed it. They couldn't fit that text on there. And so they bring up more points about Magic simplifying its text boxes over the years. For example, adding mana. I have the old Llanowar Elves here. You go down to the beta, the alpha. When I started playing roughly around 7th edition, this is what it looked like. It says tap, add a green to your mana pool. What does that exactly mean? To a new player, I thought that meant search my library for a forest and put it into play, because that's my pool of mana, right? Confusing. And so they eventually fixed it, and now we have the modern version, which is just simply, tap, add a mana. Very simple. Another version, or another verbiage that changed that I think was great was the he or she changed to they. And this is not to do with like pronouns or anything for me personally. This is just a text box simplification scenario. And Mark Rosewater on Blogatog commented on this a number of years ago in 2015. And I think the change went into effect roughly 6 years ago in right around Dominaria, where they changed he or she to they. At first, people were, complaining about it. They're like, oh, this is going to be confusing. What exactly does they mean? Is it plural? Is it singular? 2024 now, people have gotten used to it. It's very convenient on Magic cards, especially because he or she, his or her, takes up so much extra room on the card. These are the Ice Age pages. I had the wrong ones pulled up, but the point is that they think long and hard about these things. They use the Chicago Manual of Style, and I don't know if they're still using it. They were at the time. I assume they're using some sort of guidance, in terms of having the right type of grammar on their text boxes. And so they thought long and hard about it. At first, they wanted to be inclusive by including she and her on the cards, to include women and in the game. They wanted a larger market share, right? But this is kind of a separate scenario. So enter the battlefield is the new change in town, and I feel this is a great change. I would like to know what the audience thinks, what the viewers think, which other phrases can be shortened in Magic cards. Reanimate, I gave an example here. The only thing I would say is let's be cautious not to oversimplify and end up with the Swords to Plowshares that I posted right here. So Merkanaut for real. Let's not go quite that far, but yeah, let me know what you think in the comments, and until next time.